Hello everyone, this is Reverend Dr. Roger Paul with my wife Diane, Reverend Diane Paul. And tonight we're going to continue with our study of paper 104, The Growth of the Trinity Concept. And we're on section 4, and that's page 1147.11. Got a thing from Rodney, I don't know what it means.
Just
Okay.
to the bottom of the page.
Rodney he just went offline, so he's probably contacting me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Said something about bills or something.
I don't know. It's just not on right now.
Okay, well let's get started and we'll go from there. Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight, and we thank you for the opportunity to teach this wonderful paper about the Trinity concept. We hope that it brings us closer to you, the first source and center, and that it opens our hearts and minds and expands our consciousness of the cosmos. Pray that you'll allow us to share this with others in our everyday life. We thank you and we give you the praise in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen. Okay. The seven triunities. In attempting the description of the seven triunities, attention is directed to the fact that the universal Father is the primal member of each. He is, was, and ever will be the first universal Father, source, absolute center, primal cause, universal controller, limitless energizer, original unity, unqualified upholder, first person of deity, primal cosmic pattern, and essence of infinity. What a sentence. The universal Father is the personal cause of the absolutes. He is the absolute of absolutes. So without the universal Father, there would be no seven absolutes. And that goes true for the seven triunities also. Remember that the triunities always has the universal Father as the first member on all seven of the ones they tell us, and that's the case on all the other 7 or 8 they do not tell us about. And I'm sure there's reasons they don't tell us about these. Now this next slide is a list of the 7 triunities, and this particular slide is not in the book. Okay, it comes from the book, but it's not in the book. And the reason I wanted to show you this slide is it breaks down what they say about each of the 7 triunities and what they really are, one at a time. And I'd kind of like to go through each one of these one at a time and kind of go through what the triunities are. Millie, can you see this good enough to read it?
I see the printed page, yes.
You don't see the slide?
It's a printed page now.
Huh?
It's just a printed page. Listing the 7 triunities.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's what he
I
means.
see it. Last time I had trouble not seeing the slide, but no. I see it.
Yeah, this is not in the book, so that's why I wanted to make sure you could see it. If you want to go ahead and read the slide.
What did you say?
If you want to go ahead and read the slide, if you can see it.
Okay, 7 triunities. The first triunity is personal, purposive triunity. Second triunity, power, pattern triunity. Third triunity is spirit, evolutional triunity. Fourth triunity is the triunity of energy infinity. Fifth triunity is triunity of reactive infinity. Sixth triunity is the triunity of cosmic associative deity. Seventh triunity is triunity of infinite unity.
So you can see each one of these triunities has a specific purpose. Notice the first one, the first triunity is about personal, purposive triunity. So it's everything personal in the universe. Okay? The second is the power pattern. Everything that's got power in the universe, God the Father is the pattern for that power, including paradise and the other 3 of the Trinity. The third triunity, the spirit evolutionary triunity, and this one involves the Son because it's what? Spirit. It's a spirit triunity. The fourth triunity is about energy. So what would that tell you? That means it would probably has something to do with paradise, right? Because it has to do with energy. And the last three have to do with the last three members of the absolutes. And we're going to go through slides on each and every one of these one at a time.
Hey Roger, I have a question.
Yeah.
When you talk about power, are you talking about sovereignty? How do you interpret the word power?
Talking about what?
Power. How do you interpret power?
The second triunity, when they say power, pattern, triunity.
I
The
thought,
word power.
I thought that would be the eternal Son.
Power
He wants to know how you interpret that.
Well, if you wait just a minute, it's going to explain what that means. Okay, it's on the two slides away. Okay.
Okay, what about the word energy? Is that still related to material, mindful, and spiritual?
That's relating to basically paradise and all the energy that comes from paradise. All material matter comes from paradise, and that's part of the third, this triunity. The third.
Right, because I just wanted to read something, and it says triunity. What are these seven functional unions of the absolutes? When they say absolutes, we're talking about the seven absolutes, right?
That's correct.
And we also have the three absolutes, which would be the God, the absolute, is it?
Well, we have the three absolutes that are different from the Father, Son, and Spirit in paradise, right? Then we have three other absolutes, the deity absolute, the universal absolute, and the unqualified absolute.
That's correct.
Yeah, and that's probably what you're talking about here. And we're going to go over that in great detail too
Okay.
in these slides. Okay, so let's go to the next slide.
Me?
No, let's see, what order is Rodney in
No, Robbie's not
there?
there.
Okay, Tim, would you take this next slide? Now, this next slide has multiple paragraphs in it.
It's the nature and meaning of the seven triunities may be suggested as the first triunity, the personal purpose triunity. This is the grouping of the three deity personalities. 1, universal Father. 2, the eternal Son. 3, the infinite Spirit. This is the threefold union of love, mercy, and ministry. The purpose and personal association of the three. Eternal paradise personalities. This is the divinely fraternal, creature-loving fatherly, acting in ascension, promoting association. The divine personalities of this first triunity are personality bequeathing, spirit,
Yeah.
spirit
Bequeathing.
bestowing, and mind endowing gods. Boy, there are a lot of monotheists take that word.
That really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the triunity of infinite volition. It acts throughout the eternal present and in all of the past, present, future flow of time. This association yields volitional infinity and provides the mechanisms whereby personal deity becomes self-revelatory to the creatures of the evolving cosmos.
Okay, let's go through
Those
this.
mouthfuls.
It's a lot on this, isn't it? So the first triunity involves the universal Father, the eternal Son, and the infinite Spirit, which includes everything personal. You know, in that previous slide, it said the personal purposive triunity. Every being that has a personality comes from these three beings, right? God the Father, God the Son, and God the Spirit, right? The infinite Spirit. Okay? So anything to do with love, mercy, and ministry to creatures has to do with this first personal purposive triunity. Okay? That's why this is so very important. It's the Trinity that bequests your spirit, bequests your mind, bequests your physical being. because it involves both the Father, the Son, and the infinite Spirit. So we get our personality from God the Father, our spirit from God the Son, and our mind from the infinite Spirit. Now, where do we get our body from? That comes partially from paradise, but also the infinite Spirit, right? And the Creator Sons. So that's what they're talking about in this paragraph right underneath that, okay? So it also goes on to say it's the triunity of infinite volition throughout all time, past, present, and future. So anything having to do with moving forward, for personality moving forward, which includes what? Our ascension plan. This is the triunity that has to do with that. It makes sure we have a pathway as beings to start out on our lowly level, and we progress one level at a time up to paradise, where we get to stand before whom? The infinite Spirit, the Son, and God the Father, the first source and center. Okay? So, this triunity is the combination of the three personalities, right? Universal Father, Eternal Son, and Infinite Spirit. It's the personal, purposive triunity. Remember this slide from when we did the preface for the foreword? Okay, we're going to visit each one of these. All right. The second triunity. Diane, you want to take it?
The second triunity, the power pattern triunity, whether it be a tiny ultimation, a blazing star, or a whirling nebula, even the central or super universes, from the smallest to the largest material organizations, always is a physical pattern, cosmic configuration, derived from the function of this triunity. This association consists of 1. The Father-Son, 2. The Paradise Isle, 3. Conjoint Actor.
It's interesting that they call this a triunity because the first person, again, is who? The Father, but it also involves the Son. So they're working together in this, right?
In a partnership, correct?
Huh?
In a partnership?
In a partnership, that's right. But it also involves the Isle of Paradise. Why? Because this is the power pattern unity. So everything from the tiny automaton to the super universes, all the power that keeps us going and creates this comes from this triunity, which is involved with whom? The Paradise Isle, the physical universe, right? Also, the conjoint actor. The conjoint actor acts as the mobilization factor for paradise to move its material things out into the universe. So it's the pattern, paradise is the pattern of all power in the universe, okay? The material power, the spiritual power, the physical power, everything, right? So it would look like this. It's gonna look like a Father-Son combination. You see this? Two together, and then it also involves the conjoint actor and paradise. And remember, paradise is not deity, right? It's a physical pattern, right? So, because the conjoint actor appears at the same time as paradise, the conjoint actor is the deity part of this. And the paradise is the non-deity part of this, right? And the pattern personality involves all three of the first beings, Father, Son, and Infinite Spirit, or conjoint actor, right? Plus paradise. Really it's four, but it's still considered a triunity. Why? Because there's three deities involved. You see that? And then there's also the physical Isle of Paradise.
Hey Roger, you notice they used the word the conjoint actor. That's where the Father is acting in and through the infinite Spirit.
Right. That's
and then
right.
you have the power pattern Trinity basically the pattern for all the super universes pretty much to imitate, pretty much.
Yeah, they all imitate, all 7 super universes imitates paradise.
The eternal all of paradise. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And that's a very good point. Without paradise, we wouldn't have a pattern to go by. Another very important point is the creator sons, when they create their local universes, they go from a pattern of paradise. Okay? Now, who was the very first pattern copier from paradise? The eternal Son, right? All right, and that is in the first super universe, which is what? Havona, right? That surrounds paradise. You know, there's rings around paradise. That was created by the eternal Son, the first eternal Son, right? The creator sons take their patterns from that first creation. Okay? All right. Let's go on to energy. This is another interesting one. All right. Energy is organized by the cosmic agents of the third source and center. Energy is fashioned after the pattern of paradise. The absolute materialization, but behind all the ceaseless manipulation is the presence of the Father-Son, whose first union activated the paradise pattern, in appearance of Havona concomitant with the birth of the infinite spirit, the conjoint actor. You get that? So, when paradise was activated with the birth of the infinite spirit, also came what? Havona. You follow me? So, when paradise activated at the same time as the infinite spirit, Havona appeared because of that activation. Because all energy is organized by the third source and center. So no energy could go out from paradise until the third source and center activated paradise and a Havona appeared. Right?
Hey Roger,
Yeah.
how do you interpret energy?
Anything that makes matter what it is. Anything that moves the smallest automaton in its circles, that creates atoms, that energy that makes that go is what they're talking about here. So that energy is what creates matter, right? So there would be no super universes, no matter, if it wasn't for the energy that's activated by this particular triunity.
So are we talking about material?
We're talking about anything material. Not only in the 7 super universes, but all the outer space levels also.
So
all the-
energy is in reference to material, mindal, and spiritual.
Right. Material, mindal, and spiritual.
Right. If you had to define just each of those differently, how would you do it? Like if I say material, it could be like they're talking about a star, something like a body. If I had to say mindal, well, how did they use the word mind?
Okay,
It's usually
let me give you an example of this, okay? Energy in material, mindal, and spiritual, right? When we're born on this planet, we're material, right? All the atoms and stuff that makes us up who we are materially. We're endowed with mindal energy superimposed on material matter, okay? That's what gives us consciousness, is that mind. Okay? That's our starting point in the universe. But soon as we get going in this material functioning universe, we're giving a thought adjuster, which is non-personal. Our person, from that mindal endowment and God's gift of personality, creates something totally new, which is the soul. Okay? And they can't even explain to us exactly how the soul is created completely. But when we leave this planet, we go to a different existence, right? A Morancha existence, which is different from our first material experience, right? So we go from a totally material to a mindal or next level experience, right? What happens after we get through the mindal or the Moranchal level?
We transcend to spirit.
We go into spirit.
Stage spirits.
The third stage spirit. So in the first one we have material energy, right? The second one we have Morancha or mindal energy, right? Which turns into Moda. The third one we have spiritual energy. And we know that that spiritual energy comes from what? The sun. The spirit comes from the sun. The spirit circuits are the sun, right? So in the first existence, we have close association with the mind, which is the infinite spirit, and the universal Father, of course. The second experience, we have even closer experience with the mind in the Moranchal form. But in that experience, we fuse with our adjuster, so we go from a personality to a fused personality with the thought adjuster, a father fragment. So we get closer to God, right? The next experience is our spiritual existence. And in that experience, we become closer to whom? The second source and center, or the infinite sun, right? From the spiritual experience, we move into the Havona rings, right? Which is the central universe. In the Havona rings, we go through ring after ring after ring after ring. So we experience everything spiritual, preparing our way to stand before the infinite spirit, God the Father, and the infinite Son, and God the Father. Those three experiences together prepares us to become finalators, right? And when we get to stand before God the Father, and He says, "Well done, my good and faithful servant," at that time point, we're ready to move into the domain of the Supreme, okay? And in the domain of the Supreme, we are prepared to go out into the outer space levels. And when they're ready to populate the outer space levels, He's going to have billions and billions of finalators that are ready to go out and prepare people for the outer space levels. Make sense?
You know, I could read you 4 references if you like too.
Yeah, go right ahead.
It says energy. It's the spirit is divine purpose, and spirit mind is divine purpose and action. Energy is thing, mind is meaning, spirit is value. Energy we use as an all-inclusive term applied to spiritual, mindal, and material realms.
There you go.
In this paper, for an example, the word energy is used to denote all phases and forms of phenomenal motion, action, and potential, while force is applied to the pre-gravity and power to the post-gravity stages of energy. And then it says energy proceeds from paradise, fashioned after the divine order. Then it says the last one, energy, pure energy, partakes of the nature of the divine organization. It is fashioned after the similitude of the 3 gods embraced in one as they function at the headquarters of the universe of universes. That's kind of a wow. What's that mean?
Well, it's explaining the difference between energy and power, basically.
Right.
You know, and it just expands what we were just talking about. Now, we're not quite done with this triunity. We've got 2 more slides here I want to go through. But basically, it shows you the importance of each and every triunity and the different function of each triunity, right? All right, so let's go on to the next one. Millie, would you take the next one, please?
Yes. In religious experience, preachers make contact with the God who is love, but such spiritual insight must never eclipse the intelligent recognition of the universe fact of the pattern which is paradise. The paradise personalities enlist the free will adoration of all creatures by the compelling power of divine love and lead all such spirit-born personalities into the supernal delights of the unending service of the finaliter sons of God. The second triunity is the architect of the space stage whereon these transitions unfold. It determines the patterns of cosmic configuration.
You see how we go from Morancha to spirit, which prepares us to go on to become finaliters. And then what? We go on to serve God, right? Both in the local universes and out in outer space levels. The eternal plan of God later on, right? And that's very important. Notice that spiritual insight too.
Roger.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can read about the ascension career on paper 15 and paper 30.
there you go. Would you read the next paragraph for me here, please? Tim?
Yes. Love may characterize the divinity, that would be truth, beauty, and goodness, of the first triunity. The pattern is the galactic manifestation of the second triunity. What the first triunity is to evolving personalities, the second triunity is to the evolving universes. Pattern and personality are two of the great manifestations of the acts of the first source and center. No matter how difficult it may be to comprehend, it is nonetheless true that the power, pattern, and 11th person are one and the same, universe reality. The Paradise Isle and the Eternal Sun are coordinate, but antipodal
Relations. Yes.
revelations of the unfathomable nature of the universal Father Force.
So it's the revelation of the Father and the power of God the Father, right?
How would you define the first source and center?
That's what we've been talking about since last week. The first source and center is the epitome of God the Father and how He's involved in all parts of the cosmos and universe. There is no cosmos and universe without the first source and center, which is God. We consider God the Father. We call Him God the Father because that's our personal relationship with Him. But He's much more than our Father. He's our cause of existence. He's our deity of existence of all things. Material, spiritual, mindal, morantial, everything. Right? Alright. Okay, let's go on to the next paragraph.
Roger, the word antipodal, what does that mean?
Opposites of each
Okay.
other.
Thank you.
Yeah, they basically work in almost against each other, but in harmony. You know, so they're two ends of the spectrum. In other words.
Which
right?
reminds me, Roger, remember the very first circle, the I am, and then guess who moved away from it?
Yeah.
I always like to interpret that, when it comes to Islam, how they're always talking about, one.
Yeah.
Well, I interpret that as the one.
Yeah. Well, we got to remember that thinking of God as one deity is not incorrect. It's the lack of understanding of the other parts of deity, which is the Son and Spirit. Because the Father does not act. In other words, the Father is the thought, the Son is the Word, or the manifestation of the Father, and the infinite Spirit is the action. So, without the three, there is nothing created, evolved, or anything. Evolution would not happen without the three together. The Trinity is the ultimate of God the Father. It allows God the Father to share Himself with all beings. Without it, He could not.
Right, because in Islam they don't associate partners, so it's very difficult for them to really, to relate to what you're saying, but
Yeah.
these words like Trinity, which is just a partnership, you know, all three working together, and then I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, we went on through all that on the first part of the paper, so you might want to review that too. Okay, let's go on to the next paragraph here. Did we read this? I don't think so. Okay. 10, did you read this?
Oh, I just read.
He just read it.
Oh, did he? Okay, is this you doing it?
Oh, it's the next one,
Oh,
the
is
third
it?
triunity.
Did we read this over? Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. I got sidetracked here. Here we go. Third triangle.
Third triunity, the spirit evolutional triunity. The entirety of spiritual manifestation has its beginning and end in this association, consisting of number 1, the universal Father, 2, the Son Spirit, 3, the deity absolute. From spirit potency to paradise spirit, all spirit finds reality expression in this triune association of the pure spirit essence of the Father, the active spirit values of the Son Spirit, and the unlimited spirit potentials of the deity absolute. The existential values of spirit have their primordial genesis, complete manifestation, and final destiny in this triunity. The Father exists before Spirit, the Son Spirit functions as active creative spirit, and the deity absolute exists as all-encompassing spirit, even beyond spirit.
Did you catch that? Okay. So this triangle, let me show you the picture, because this will help make this clearer. Okay. This is the third triunity, the spirit evolutionary triunity. Basically, we start out with the Father, okay, and then we have the Son Spirit, right? This has everything to do with spirit. You know, anything to do with spirit comes from the Son, right? So this is a combination of the Son and Spirit, right? And they are in partnerships with the deity absolute, the first of the three absolutes. You remember on the bottom of the page, the deity absolute, the unqualified absolute, and the universal absolute? This is the first one of those, the deity absolute. The absolute that always has anything whatsoever to do with deity. Okay? I'm going to go back here. And from this comes all the spirit potentialities of the universe. All right, this triunity. So anything having anything whatsoever to do with spirit, including our transformation from Morancha to spirit beings, this is the triunity that's involved in that. Okay? And also the deity absolute. Why would that be? Because if you have spirit, you have personality, right? And if you have personality, you probably have to have the deity absolute involved. Why is it the deity absolute? Because it has to be deity evolved and controlled, right? Right.
Hey Roger, they
and
mentioned the word Son Spirit. Is that the eternal Son and the infinite Spirit?
No, they're talking about the infinite Son and anything having to
Eternal Son.
the eternal Son, I mean, and anything having to do with spirit function.
When you say spirit function, like dot adjusters?
Yeah, that would be one spirit function, but the spirit function more comes on the next level. We're not really quite clear and understanding the function of spirit, which is different than material and morantial. Okay? Spirit existence is a total entity of itself. Okay? So when you talk about Son Spirit, anything having to do with spirit is always involves the Son, and it always involves the universal Father and the deity absolute.
When you
Okay?
mention the deity absolute, I've got 5 references. Would you like me to read them to give you a closer picture?
No, because we went through that last week on our slide on deity absolute. We covered everything in the book on the deity absolute on that slide. So I don't want to go through what we've already done again. All right, so let's go on here. The essential values of spirit have their primordial genesis and complete manifestation in this triunity. In other words, your creation into a spirit being, your little seed that when you go from Morancha to spirit comes from this. Okay? When you jump over, and where do you do that at? When you leave the local universe level. When you leave the local universe level, where do you go? The next step is the rings of Havona. Right? Okay. It also goes on to tell us that the Father existed before the Son Spirit, and the Son Spirit functioned as the active creative spirit. He creates all that is spirit. All right? How does he do that? He does it through the Creator Sons. Okay? And the deity acts absolute is the all-encompassing part of the Spirit, which lasts even out past the Spirit existence. What is past the Spirit existence? The finaliter existence. Okay? So the deity absolute even is our creative spirit even after we get all the way through the Spirit. We're talking about billions of years of experience and stuff. Make sense?
Long time.
Long time. All right.
It's hard to comprehend that far into the future.
It is.
It's important to know the patterns.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
comforting. Very comforting.
Okay, the fourth triunity. This is before we step out away from the three most important, right, to us. All right, the fourth triunity. Who's up? I am. All right, so let's read through this. The triunity of energy infinity. This is what we were talking about a minute ago, wasn't it, Tim? The energy that goes on, energy infinity. Within this triunity, there eternalizes the beginnings and endings of all energy reality, from space potency to minutia. This grouping embraces the following: the Father Spirit, the Paradise Isle, the unqualified absolute. Paradise is the center of force energy, activation of the cosmos, the universe position of the first source and center, the cosmic focal point of the unqualified absolute. Remember, the unqualified absolute is not a deity absolute, right? And the source of all energy. Existentially present within this triunity is the energy potential of the cosmos infinite, in which the grand universe and the master universe are only partial manifestations. The fourth triunity absolutely controls the fundamental units of cosmic energy and releases them from the grasp of the unqualified absolute in direct proportion to the appearance of the experiential deities of the absolute capacity to control and stabilize the metamorphosing cosmos. It controls everything that's happening out in the outer space levels completely. Okay? This triunity is force and energy. The endless possibilities of the unqualified absolute are centered around absolutum and the Isle of Paradise, whence emanate the unimaginable agitations of the otherwise static quiescence of the unqualified, and the endless throbbing of the material paradise heart of the infinite cosmos beats in harmony with the unfathomable pattern and unsearchable plan of the infinite energizer, the first source and center. So paradise gets its pattern from whom? The first source and center, God the Father. Right? And through the Paradise Isle, all that is energy, pattern, physical, material, comes through this fourth triunity. Okay? It's controlled through the unqualified absolute. It is not deity. Right? Where does the deity come from on this? The Universal Father. So this is controlled by the Universal Father through His own unqualified absolute. It helps control all paradise, the paradise isle, and everything that emanates from the paradise isle, which includes what? All physical energy, all material energy, everything having to do with keeping the cosmos moving. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and the unqualified absolute is everything beyond everything.
Everything beyond everything. Yeah. Does that make sense to y'all? Tim, does that make sense to you? Because you asked about energy and power. Tim's still up there?
It's not here. It's not there.
You losing?
Is this for me?
Yeah.
Did we just read this?
The fourth triunity.
Yeah, the fourth triune.
The fourth triunity, the triunity of energy, infinity.
No, we just read that.
We just read
I
that.
didn't change it, I'm sorry.
Yeah, let me go through the slide before we move on too. This is the Father, Spirit, energy triunity. See, it's a combination of the Father and His Spirit, right? The unqualified absolute, which is a non-deity absolute, and paradise. Okay? So we have the Father and His Spirit, the unqualified absolute, which is the way He controls all matter, and paradise. Okay? And let's move on. Hope we didn't lose Tim for good tonight. Okay.
The fifth triunity, the triunity of reactive infinity. This association consists of 1, the universal Father, 2, the universal absolute, and 3, the unqualified absolute. This grouping yields the eternalization of the functional infinity realization of all that is actuable within the domains of non-deity reality. This triunity manifests unlimited reactive capacity to the volitional, causative, tensional, tensional, and patternal actions and presences of the other triunities.
Okay, so this is a trinity that reacts to all the triunities, basically, and it is a non-deity related triunity because the deity comes from whom? The universal Father, right? Hard to understand that. I mean, it's a hard concept to grasp. So we have the universal Father, the unqualified absolute, which is a non-deity absolute, and the universal absolute, which encompasses all the other absolutes, right? The sixth triunity.
The sixth triunity, the triunity of cosmic associated deity. This grouping consists of 1, the universal Father, 2, the deity absolute, 3, the universal absolute. This is the association of deity in the cosmos, the eminence of deity in conjunction with the transcendence of deity. This is the last outreach of divinity on the levels of infinity towards those realities which lie outside the domain of deified reality.
Okay, so this has more to do with the cosmos, which includes the universal Father, the deity absolute, and the universal absolute, right? And there's not much more I can say about that. So here we have the universal Father. This is the cosmic associated deity, a deity absolute and universal absolute. And this has to do with the realities which lie outside the domain of deified reality, which we don't have any idea what that would be, right? The seventh triunity, the triunity of infinity unity, is the triunity of infinity functionally manifested in time and eternity. The coordinate unification of actuals and potentials. This group consists of the universal Father the conjoint actor, and the universal absolute. Okay? This is hard for us to understand because this triunity deals with infinite unity. In other words, the unity that goes on indefinitely. Okay? So the next paragraph says the conjoint actor universally integrates the varying functional aspects of all actualized reality on all levels of manifestation, from finites through transcendentals and on to absolutes. The universal absolute perfectly compensates the differentials inherent in the varying aspects of all incomplete reality, from the limitless possibilities of active, volitional, and causative deity reality to the boundless possibilities of static, reactive, non-deity reality in the comprehensible domains of the incomprehensible domains of the unqualified absolute. As they function, this triunity, the conjoint actor and the universal absolute, are alike responsive to deity and to non-deity presences, as also is the first source and center, who is this relationship in all intents and purposely actually distinguishable from the I am. So this is the universal absolute and the conjoint actor and the universal absolute. Universal Father, the conjoint actor, and the universal absolute. Okay, and this, in essence, has to do with all non-deity presence and everything outside, which is indistinguishable from the I am. The I am that I am. So this looks like this. The universal Father, the conjoint actor, right, and the universal absolute. And that includes all function of deity because of the universal Father and the unqualified absolute and the conjoint actor. Right? Millie. You take the next one.
These approximations are sufficient to elucidate the concept of the triunities. Not knowing the ultimate level of the triunities, you cannot fully comprehend the first seven. While we do not deem it wise to attempt any further elaboration, we may state that there are 15 triune associations of the first source and center, 8 of which are unrevealed in these papers. These unrevealed associations are concerned with realities, actualities, and potentialities, which are beyond the experiential level of supremacy.
So it's outside the supreme, so it's into the future, right? And that's what's on this chart. This is these 8 unrevealed triunities underneath the 7 revealed triunities. So that makes the 15. Okay. A little complicated, but it helps us out.
It's God.
Huh?
It's about God. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
lots of
Okay.
It's difficult to understand the 7. We don't need all the rest of
more.
them.
That's right. Yeah. They're outside our scope of.
Handle on 1 or 2 of these first.
Yeah, and they're even outside our scope of experience right now, since they're outside the scope of the Supreme. So even if they did tell us about it, we'd have no concept of what they're talking about, right? All right, so let's go on. Diane?
The triunities are the functional balance wheel of infinity, the unification of the uniqueness of the 7 infinity absolutes. It is the existential presence of the triunities that enables the Father, I am, to experience functional infinity unity, despite the diversification of infinity into 7 absolutes. The first source and center is the unifying member of all triunities. In him all things have their unqualified beginnings, eternal existences, and infinite destinies. In him all things consist.
Okay, so in a nutshell, this is what the first source and center is all about, right? Okay. Although these associations cannot augment the infinity of the Father I am, They do appear to make possible the sub-infinite and sub-absolute manifestations of his reality. The seven triunities multiply versatility, eternalize new depths, deitize new values, disclose new potentialities, reveal new meanings. And all these diversified manifestations in time and space and in the eternal cosmos are existent in the hypothetical stasis of the original infinity of the I Am. That sums it up. Okay? Next section. We got one more section of the triodities. It's very short, so finish up this thing.
Okay, the triodities. There are certain other triune relationships which are non-father in constitution, but they are not real triunities, and they are always distinguished from the father triunities. They are called variously associate triunities, coordinate triunities, and triodities. They are consequential to the existence of the triunities. Two of these associations are constituted as follows.
The triodity of actuality. This triodity consists in the interrelationship of the three absolute actuals. 1, the eternal Son. 2, the paradise isle. 3, the conjoined actor. The eternal Son is the absolute of spirit reality, the absolute personality. The paradise isle is the absolute of cosmic reality, the absolute pattern. The conjoined actor is the absolute of mind reality, the coordinate of absolute spirit reality, and the existential deity synthesis of personality and power. This triune association eventuates the coordination of the sum total of actualized reality, spirit, cosmic, or mindal. It is unqualified in actuality.
Unqualified because it is not qualified like the deity absolutes. Right. So this is a association of three beings with a non-father involvement. Right. So they look like this.
There's seven. There was universal father or father-son were in each of them. There's no universal father in this one.
That's right. That's why it's called a triodity. It's an oddity to start out with because it has no father association. This is kind of a what would you say? This is kind of what evolves because of the Son being involved with the spirit, the paradise isle, and all material matter, and the conjoined actor in all mind. Right?
So that's part of their ascension plan?
That's part of their growth. Yeah, evolution.
Evolution.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, not
And that's why they call it the oddity, because it's not got a father portion involved, right?
So
And
the
there
ascension-
aren't any of the qualified absolutes or the deity absolute or the unqualified absolute involved, right? This is their personal involvement in this, right? It's a deity synthesis of this. So this is what we're talking about, the triodity of actuality. We're talking about the eternal Son, the conjoined actor, and paradise. Okay, it's not the Father. Next, it shows they function as a triunity of the universal absolute, which involves the universal Father, the triunity of infinite unity, the conjoined actor, and the universal absolute. This is the regular triunity, right, in comparison. Okay, and this is the other triodity. This is the triodity of potentiality. And it involves the universal absolute through the latent spirit energy of the Son, right? Spirit energy.
I said deity absolute.
Deity absolute, right? Universal absolute, the latent mindal absolute of what? If we're talking about mindal, we're talking about the infinite spirit, right? And then the unqualified absolute, which is the latent cosmic energy for all the future universes, right? All right, this is the last slide. Who's up? I am? Okay, well, I'll finish this off tonight.
We lost Jim.
Yeah, I don't know when he would come back. He may have lost his connection or something. Could have problems with The triodity of actuality. The triodity consists.
Potentiality.
I'm sorry. The triodity of actuality.
Potential.
Potentiality. I'm sorry, I'm reading from a different slide. Potentiality. This triody consists in the association of the three absolutes of potentiality: the deity absolute, the universal absolute, and the qualified absolute. Remember, those are the three at the bottom of the seven absolutes. Thus are interassociated the infinity reservoirs of all latent energy, reality, spirit, mindal, or cosmic. This association yields the integration of all latent energy, reality. It is infinite in potential, unending, right? As the triunities are primarily concerned with the functional unification of infinity, so are triodities involved in the cosmic appearance of experiential deities. The triunities are indirectly concerned, but the triodities are directly concerned in the experiential deities, supreme, ultimate, and absolute. That's in that big chart again, right? They appear in the emerging power personality synthesis of the Supreme Being, and to the time creatures of space, the Supreme Being is a revelation of the unity of the I Am. It's the revelation of God the Father, presented by Melchizedek of Nebadon. Isn't that interesting? Love it. And next time we're going to go over deity and reality. Let's have a little prayer and we'll quit for the night. Millie, would you like to pray for us tonight? Closing.
Heavenly Father, we thank you once again for letting us congregate here on our computers and listen to this wonderful revelation that you've given us to help us learn how to find our way back to you. We're trying to understand it, and we understand that it's very complicated and it's hard to get there, but we're going to do it. We're going to stick with it, and we're going to do it. We thank you so much for the guidance. Help us use this information that we have gotten in this paper that we're just finishing to understand how things work in your world, in your universes, in our world too. We thank you in the name of Jesus of Nebadon. Amen.
Amen. And thank you at home for joining us. Please come to us again. I hope you enjoyed this.
If you can digest this,